Breida to the second level. He may go.
Goodbye.
But Ski is loose. Here's Garoppolo. Throws for Breida. He's got it in the end zone. Garoppolo throws over the middle. George Kittle. Touchdown. San Francisco.
Let's go, baby. It's time to eat.
Bosa's got him around the waist. He throws. Intercepted by Richard Sherman.
Hey, we cover. Y'all rush.
And there's the pressure again, and he goes down.
This is where you make your money.
And man, oh man, is Nick Bosa putting on a show.
Oh, he's planting the flag.
Bosa getting revenge.
I was thinking, like, do I need to practice it? Is it going to look bad? But yeah, I practiced a little bit in my room.
Did you watch like clips? Because there was a video of like side by side, and it was almost.
It was pretty accurate. I mean, the image was in my head pretty good, so I kind of had a good idea. I was kind of trying to talk. I don't usually talk, but this game, he had it coming. So, but he didn't say one word back. So.
Well, what'd you say? Just an example.
I was just screaming his name, like, Baker, Baker, you good? Come on, pick it up. We want a challenge. Stuff like that.
So this was throughout the game, not just on.
Yeah, and he was just looking at me like.
Yeah, and here's the thing. When it comes to throwing shade, that was probably number 2 on the list after yesterday's game. Niners crushed them on Monday Night Football. The Browns lose 31-3. Niners 4-0. First time since Joe Montana was quarterbacking the Niners.
Wow.
Steve Young never started 4-0. They're the only undefeated team in the NFC, and they got after Baker Mayfield on defense all game long yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, they harassed him apparently before the game, during the game, and still after the game.
No, he harassed them
before
the game.
See,
we'll get to that in a second.
Scott, the pressure, I mean, it was coming from all angles. And it wasn't just blitzes. I mean, when you can get pressure from the front four like the 49ers did, in case you missed the game last night, here's some of that action. Look, Nick Bosa, there you see him at the top of the screen. I mean, he's just going to beat the left tackle right here. And it's not just a sack. The ball is out, as you could see. But they moved Bosa all around. I mean, it was outside rushes. It was just continually harassing Baker, even when he tried to flush out of the pocket. Here's Eric Armstead and DeVorce Buckner getting in on it. And again, Baker loose with the football. Guess what? That kitchen started getting a little bit hot, and Baker didn't like it. So I thought the 49ers did a great job controlling the line of scrimmage. They got after Baker, made him uncomfortable. And guess what? His height did matter. When you've got guys like DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead with their hands up, those are tall twin towers right there. You could tell Baker wanted to get out of the pocket and he wanted to try to find some throwing lanes, and they made him pay.
Yeah, we haven't said that often about the 6-foot-tall Baker Mayfield that did look like it impacted him there. The other thing for the Niners is they were playing with the lead pretty much the entire game. And it started off with their first offensive play. The run game was working last night.
Yeah. You talk about, Sean, the way their defense owned the line of scrimmage. Their offensive line did the same thing. And I just didn't see it coming. Obviously I came up in that Mike Shanahan zone offense in Washington, and so I've seen it firsthand. But what they're able to do with some of those running backs is just really special. And this staff really believes that they can put any back in their system and they can succeed. And so you watch the guys with the speed that they're able to run with. Tevin Coleman right here. I mean, they're really hitting the edges. And to me, they just beat up the Cleveland Browns up front. And Cleveland looks soft for the first time, I feel like defensively. We always talked about how Greg Williams led this defense last year. And, Steve Wilkes was doing a pretty good job. But to me, this was a game where they look soft, more so than I think the 49ers look that great. And so I'm definitely looking forward to see, this 49ers team play the Rams, because to me, that's the real test, a division opponent that knows you. That to me is when I'll be able to tell if this 49ers team is for real or not.
D'Angelo, the holes were gaping. But Scott, when you give up an 83-yard touchdown run on the very first play of the game, that tells me you weren't ready to play. And I don't know how. When you got people wearing watches, you know what time it is. But it's Monday Night Football. All right, it's prime time. The fact that you can let this happen and you're not ready to go, I mean, with all the hype and with all the excitement around the Cleveland Browns, to not be ready to go on the first snap, that to me, that was just as concerning as the way that they finished the game.
By the way, Matt Breida on that run, Next Gen told us he went over 22 miles per hour. That's the new standard. You talk about a 4.3 40 or something. If you go to 22 miles per hour, the microchip in the shoulder pads measured it. That's the fastest touchdown run of the year. So that's the new standard. It's like 22 and a half he reached
almost
right
as
there.
fast as your Tesla.
When it's fully charged. Pretty quick. Meanwhile, Mr. Monday Night was held down in check by Richard Sherman. Odell Beckham Jr. had been fantastic on Monday Night Football. 9 games coming into last night. He had scored 8 touchdowns. Yesterday, he only had 2 catches, D-Hall.
Yeah, he had 2 catches, and what this 49ers defense did is very similar to what Seattle Seahawks used to do. They rush with their down linemen, and they let the guys on the back end play coverage. Look at Richard Sherman. He's telling you, look, he's an older corner. He can't run as fast anymore. He's going to play with his cushion. He's going to sag off, play that cover 3, and let the underneath defense handle everything in front of him. Right here, look, he knows Jimmy Ward should have got out there on that. Sherman doesn't mind at all. Young corners will gamble on that play because they're tired of seeing the completion. Richard Sherman walked back to okay, I'm not worried about that because I know sooner or later this young quarterback's not patient enough to continually take those comebacks and curls and digs. Eventually, he's going to take a shot. Which you saw the shot, and Richard Sherman picked it off. Speaking
of Richard Sherman, can we do this nonsense with the handshake right now? Okay, if you're on social media, you've already seen it. If not, Richard Sherman said that Baker Mayfield disrespected him by not shaking hands at the coin flip. Well, they absolutely did shake hands at the coin flip. There is the video evidence right there. The team captains coming together. There's Baker, there's Richard Sherman. They shook hands.
Bro?
Now, the coin flip was actually flipped, and they called sides and whatnot. Let's roll the other video, because as soon as the coin flip happened, watch Baker, okay, heads you win, da-da-da, and he's out of there. And I think that's what Richard Sherman said he was mad about, that he didn't shake his hand 20 seconds after he had just shaken his hand. And how do we break this down?
I've been a guy to run out of there because I'm excited. If we're going on D, I'm pumped to run and tell the rest of the guys, we're on D, let's go, let's get fired up. And so for me, I think Richard Sherman is more so his feelings are hurt. He's an all-pro caliber player. You know, he has those credentials. So I think he's a little bit sensitive that the young guy didn't come shake his hand.
Yeah, this is much to do about nothing. Baker was clearly going to get his helmet because he was wearing a hat instead of bringing your helmet out there.
Okay,
but it was clearly foreshadowing as well, Scott. That was Baker leaving the pocket.
Not bad. Well, but Bosa didn't tackle him right there and then plant the flag and all of that right there. All right, anyway, more on that on NFL.com if you want to see some more of the angles of the videos, Zapruder film-like stuff that we had today on social media. That was a good time. Time now to reveal the Pepsi Rookie of the Week nominees. Talk about Nick Bosa. He's going to land on this list. Bosa, 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, 1 or 2 flag plantings in the win over the Browns. We got Gardner Minshew on the list as well. Completed 59% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for the rookie quarterback for the Jags. The number 1 pick in the draft is on the list. Kyler Murray, 253 yards passing, 93 yards rushing in Arizona's first win of the season. Josh Jacobs, 143 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns in the Raiders' win over Chicago. Panthers defensive end Brian Burns makes the list. He had a sack, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, which he returned for a touchdown. Good list this week.
Josh Jacobs gets my vote.
Okay, well, the fans can vote on NFL.com. Winner will be announced Friday right here on NFL Total Access. But it is Tuesday today, and that means the latest power rankings are out. Dan Hanzus has the Colts being the biggest mover up. They jump up 6 spots to number 14 after their win in Kansas City over the Chiefs. Kansas City, by the way, dropped to number 3 in the overall rankings. The Raiders jumped up 5 spots to number 19. Good win for them in London over the Bears. Josh Jacobs, the aforementioned rookie, really nice game for him. Way nicer than John Gruden's dance moves in the post-game locker room. And Oakland held Khalil Mack without a sack in that game. Biggest fallers in the rankings. Bears dropped 6 spots to number 11. Chargers down 6 spots to number 18. Browns 7 spots down to number 21. Lindsay?
Also notable in this week's power rankings, the Buffalo Bills in the top 10. They are number 10, and they're also the first stop on this week's Roads Less Traveled. The defense that we're not talking nearly enough about, that is the only defense in the NFL that's kept every opponent it's faced under 250 yards passing and 150 yards rushing. No one's put up more than 17 points on them, and Tennessee couldn't do much of anything against them on Sunday. 6 3-and-outs, 5 sacks, 3 from Jordan Phillips. Knuckles Jordan Phillips. And I don't even know what their field goal defense was doing. Jedi mind tricks maybe, but opposing kickers have missed 6 of their 8 field goal attempts. Bills D, real good. Also good this week, Orlando Scandrick, who literally walked up to Luke Falk, took the ball out of his hands, and ran it back for a touchdown. Also had another strip sack in this game and a 97-plus PFF grade. Not only was that the highest grade handed out this week, but it ties the highest grade a defensive player has earned in the last 13 years. Off his couch, jobless for the first 4 games. That is game number 1 of 2019. So was this for Devlin Hodges. And because we saw in that game how hard it can be to play quarterback with no practice reps, let's appreciate what the undrafted rookie with the $1,000 signing bonus did off the bench for the Steelers. Nearly led his team to a comeback win. Now it looks like he might start for them this week. Team calls him Duck, and here's why. In a season that's already given us Gardner Minshew, we now have a national champion duck caller playing quarterback, and all I want in the world is for that to be worked into his audibles. Forget Halle Berry, forget Omaha. Straight to the top. You can use it, Mike Tomlin. Don't worry. I won't. I don't need all the credit. The MVP award stands for most valuable player, but in recent times it